I mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you to a very special Sunday stream right here on 4 different platforms across 6 different accounts. As of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle, Oh my God, I feel it. Do you smell that? Let's put the show on in the background as well for some added effect. You know what that smell is right there? That right there is the smell of pure fucking excellence. Wait for it. No, wait for it. To mankind, and this is the official rewind for WWE Clash at the Castle 2022, which of course streamed live last night, or last afternoon rather, if you were watching in the United States, last afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern Time from Cardiff, Wales, in Principality Stadium. We have a lot to talk about. A lot of good material that we saw last night. We're going to dissect everything in depth here today. And once again, we are continuing a busy, and I mean a busy, Labor Day weekend here on the brand. But as of course, you see that I am not alone. Back here on the channel for the first time in a good while, I would say. Nearly a year. Proud to have him back on the channel. He is the creator of the Furious Nation brand and YouTube channel. He's a DJ Storms Posse member, lifelong wrestling fan. Please help me welcome back here to the channel, Mr. Nick Fiore. How you doing, brother?
I'm feeling great, DJ Storms, bro. I am feeling awesome, incredible, and just so much to think about from yesterday. What a good show yesterday in what was actually for the first time in 30 years a main roster pay-per-view for WWE taking place in the United Kingdom in Cardiff, Wales since SummerSlam 1992. So this is history in the making, and what a damn good show we got last night, bro. And yet there's still some people out there who say, "Oh, you say change? I don't see any change. What are you talking about? There's change. You're just dick riding Triple H." How about you watch the show and start paying attention, because what we got last night was probably the best show of this year outside of WrestleMania.
I'm actually going to go on record and say that this was the best WWE main roster pay-per-view since WrestleMania 31. I legitimately found little to no negative about the show. Now, there were a few tiny negatives, which we will go over, we will dissect. But overall, it was really nothing overbearing and nothing that's going to make you say, yeah, this show was a downgrade. No, this show absolutely was the best main roster WWE production that we have seen in God knows how many years. Again, the best since WrestleMania 31. And then before WrestleMania 31, I don't even know when the last good main roster production overall was. But let me tell you something. This right here, this is a great time for professional wrestling fans across the board. Because the two major companies that we see right now are really hitting their stride. They're going to put their best foot forward, and I do believe that over the course of the next few months, we will see both companies evolve in a very, very positive way that is really going to rejuvenate professional wrestling. It's going to bring pro wrestling into a boom period once again, a boom period that we haven't seen in quite some time. And it really is an exciting time. We are going into the future with a lot of unpredictability, but it's a good type of unpredictability where we don't know where some of these storylines are headed. We don't know what could come about of some of these superstars. But with Triple H booking WWE specifically, and we'll stick on WWE for now because obviously we got All Out later, but we'll stick with WWE for now. It's a very exciting time because Triple H is really going to take WWE into the future, and he's going to make the WWE product what it should have been for the last decade plus, what it should have been with the NXT Black and Gold brand and how that should have been the direction that they should have been taking. Now we can finally get that. And Clash at the Castle, absolutely fantastic show from top to bottom. There was not one dud on the show. Everyone brought their A game. Everyone worked their asses off from the pre-show match all the way to the main event. Everyone got the proper amount of time, and everyone looked good in the end. There were some shocking decisions. Which we will go over. But overall, what were your thoughts on the pay-per-view as a whole?
The pay-per-view as a whole, with the 4-5 weeks of build, and this was really Triple H's first actual pay-per-view build and pay-per-view all Triple H. SummerSlam was already written right before Vince retired. So this was really Triple H's first test, and I think he delivered. I think he nailed the home run. With the 4 or 5 weeks given with this build going into Cardiff, I can't sit here and say that Triple H is a failure. Like it's like some people are saying, "Oh, but Triple H in charge, we're seeing not much change." Like, listen, we're not seeing the drastic change overnight, but we're seeing the little things. You know what they say? It's the little things that matter the most. Like, we're hearing the terms wrestling by the commentators and hospital, where when Vince was there, the commentators would be forced to say, "Oh, medical facility." Like, no one says that in real life. You say hospital. That's the change we're seeing. And as far as this pay-per-view goes, like you said, not one bad thing, maybe a few minor things, but not really to the point where it made it a bad show. Yesterday was a very good show, and it got people talking, and it's given the viewers a reason to watch this Monday on Raw and next Friday on SmackDown, especially with what we got in the ending of yesterday.
Yes,
Drew McIntyre, Roman Reigns. We got, like, some people expected some returns like Bray Wyatt, Sasha Banks, Naomi, though I do think, though they didn't return yesterday. I keep saying last night. So everyone thought Sasha Banks, Naomi, and Bray Wyatt would come back yesterday. Apparently that wasn't the case, though I do think they'll be back soon in WWE anyways. Now, despite no returns, we did get a few NXT call-ups, and some people are saying, "Oh, we got no returns, not a good show." I mean, we got 2 NXT call-ups. Like, what more do you want?
People just have minds that are so one-tracked. They always have tunnel vision, and if they don't get the one thing that their tunnel vision is looking towards, then they automatically write everything off, and it's quite frankly retarded. I really don't care what anyone says, but we got a fantastic show from top to bottom yesterday. Yeah. The best WWE production for the main roster since WrestleMania 31, 7 years ago, back in 2015. Before we get into the show overall, and we're going to dissect each and every single one of these matches, a couple things first. Where can we find you on social media, Nick?
On social media, you can follow me on Instagram at Nicholas Fiore 2014, Facebook, Nicholas.Fiore 31, and Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at FioreNick579 as well. And also subscribe to Furious Nation YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. Recent video this past Friday. It was right after SmackDown. It was actually during Rampage. Matt Doherty and I, on a good friend of mine, Matt Doherty, he and I reviewed SmackDown from 2 nights ago. Also in the same video, previewed Clash of Castle from yesterday. We gave our thoughts, our predictions. Go check that out if you haven't done so already. And other videos from previously on the channel, go check those out. And yeah.
All those links are in the description. Please go check out his YouTube, his Instagram, his Twitter. All of those links are in the description, as well as the link for the Lightning Flash update from yesterday. Please go check that out. Shout out to Mitch Kovsky. He's actually not in the chat right now, as far as I know, because he is currently celebrating his birthday. He turns 28 today, so shout out to Nick. Not Nick. Mitch Kovsky. Excuse me. Mitch Kovsky. He was the guy that personally recruited me to come over here and work for Hardcore Sports, be a part of it, be one of the mainstays on Hardcore Sports, be the top flag bearer for Hardcore Sports, which I am. Everyone knows that DJ Storms is number one, no matter how you fucking look at it. So shout out to Mitch Kovsky and happy birthday to him. I hope he has a wonderful day. I hope he has a wonderful Labor Day weekend. Joe Foe in the ring. Proud to see you in here. Very happy to see you in here. Please make sure that you are sharing the stream out as well, Joe Foe. You can follow me. You can follow me on social media at HistoryMakerDJS. That is on Twitter and Instagram at HistoryMakerDJS. You can add me on Facebook as well for collaborations and business inquiries. Please make sure that you send me an email. My email is, of course, StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. Please make sure you like the official DJ Storms business page. And I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook. That is. All of those links are in the description. Thank you all for a wonderful Labor Day weekend. And we're not done yet because tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, Jeffrey Turner will be coming back on my channel for the Rewind for Worlds Collide and AEW All Out. We're going to have a lot of material to dissect, a shit ton of material to go over. So it's going to be a very fun time tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. I hope to see everybody in the chat. September 21st, I will be going to Grand Slam. So if you are going to Grand Slam, please make sure that you hit me up. I'll give you a wristband. You can be in my vlog. I'll call you a retard like I call everyone else a retard. We'll have a fun time. And September 23rd, here in New Jersey, at the Totowa PAL in Totowa, New Jersey, ISPW, the hottest independent wrestling promotion in New Jersey right now, ISPW is hosting the ISPW King of the Ring tournament. The King of ISPW will be crowned on September 23rd, Friday, in the Totowa PAL at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We got Michael Morris taking on Alpha Jr. We got Sean Donovan taking on Trax, who is almost like a Rick Steiner of ISPW. Very good at what he does. We also got the Tri-State champion, Bull James, taking on the superstar, Danny Morrison, former ECW Tag Team Champion. And then, of course, we got Rick Recon with Dave LaGreca. He is taking on Leo St. Giovanni. We got a big King of the Ring tournament for ISPW. It is going to be a great show. Get your tickets right now. They're only $25 a pop. I will be there. I hope to see you guys there. We are about 13 minutes into the stream. People, if you haven't liked the video, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. No matter where you're watching it from, we're streaming live on the Hardcore Sports YouTube, Hardcore Sports Twitch, Hardcore Sports Twitter, my Twitter, the DJ Storms Posse Facebook group page, and my channel. So please make sure, if you haven't already done so, that you like the stream, whether you're watching on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, or YouTube. If you are watching on my YouTube channel, here's what I want y'all to do. I need you to like the video. Then I need you to go over to the Hardcore Sports chat, and I need you to like it there. And if you're in the Hardcore Sports chat, like it in the Hardcore Sports chat, and then go over to my channel and like that stream as well. We have a lot of material to dissect, a shit ton of material to go over, and we are going to have a great time here on the channel. Please make sure, if you are watching on YouTube or any other platforms, that you share out the stream. I want the biggest outreach that we could possibly get. So I need y'all to share it out on all platforms of social media. Talking about Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever social media platforms that you may be using. So please make sure that you do so. It is vital that you do so. Let me go and check the likes on the Hardcore Sports channel. We got 5 likes there. I think you guys could do a little bit better. 5 likes over there. You could do a little bit better. We also just hit 166 subs. So we got 4 more subs over the course of the last 24 hours, which is a great thing to see. We are on the road to 200. So please make sure you hit the subscribe button when you like the video. Hit that subscribe button and hit that notifications bell with a huge coup de grace. That way you will know whenever I pop up on YouTube, because whenever I pop up on YouTube, baby, it is the best time to be on YouTube because it's the only time you're going to get to see this glorious sideburn chin strap combination and this beautiful mustache right here. Earl Cole's in the chat, and this right here is his favorite part of the stream because we about to light it up right here on the channel with a little and a dash of and a whole lot of because like Campbell's soup, oh, I'm so good. Everybody wants a piece of the Stormsmeister. You already know the drill. Anyway, enough of the self-brand promotion and the advertisements. We're going to get straight into the show. After seemingly 5 shows with no pre-show matches, they went 5 pay-per-views with no pre-show matches. They decided to do a pre-show match here, which really wasn't anything over the top. It was a 7-minute 6-man tag match. We had the Alpha Academy and Austin Theory, who has his first name back, taking on Madcap Moss. And yeah,
get Austin Theory back.
Taking on Madcap Moss and the Street Profits. Really not anything to go back and rewatch. This was just a way to get these guys on the show, just to give them a nice showcase in front of the Cardiff crowd, and the baby faces walked out victorious. I am very happy that they are not breaking up the Street Profits, and it seems like Triple H is going to keep them together and continue to rejuvenate the tag team division, especially considering he's building up the Viking Raiders. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are planning on forming sooner rather than later, and Imperium just reformed as well. So we got a lot of solid tag teams. You got the Judgment Day in there. You got Alpha Academy in there. Some solid stuff. Los Lotharios, Hit Row. Got some solid material. I got no issue with that whatsoever. And then Madcap Moss, obviously, he's on the up and up. Very happy to see him getting a nice showcase. Babyface's win. Really nothing to go back and rewatch. Do you want to comment on this, Nick, or do you want to just move on to the main show?
Like you said, not really much. Fun little 7-minute 6-man tag for the time that these 6 guys were given. I mean, not really much over the top, but a decent, fun little match nonetheless. Madcap Moss, definitely a upstart on the rise. He's got a lot of potential. I did read a story before that Paul Heyman saw a lot in him, like a world champion in him. So Madcap Moss has got a ton of potential. He's got a long way to go, but he's got a heck of a career. But Madcap Moss, man, he's got a heck of a career coming for him. I mean, I remember him teaming in NXT with Tino Sabatelli, very underrated tag team.
Yes.
But Madcap Moss on his own doing just fine, especially since breaking away from Happy Corbin or Baron Corbin.
I actually do believe that if they want to, he could get a run at Gunther. I don't see him winning, but putting him against Gunther, that's definitely going to be a test for him. If they do decide to go that route, that right there would be a test to see if he could hang with someone on the level of a Gunther.
That I'd like to see.
If they do that, I'd probably like to see it happen maybe at Extreme Rules, since that's like kind of a lower level pay-per-view, and you can get away with something like that. Maybe he'll end up surprising us. He put on a couple of damn good matches with Drew McIntyre, actually, both at Day 1 and at Elimination Chamber. They actually put on a very solid performance both of those times. So I'd actually like to see what Madcap Moss could do with someone like a Gunther. Maybe we'll get that, but for now, he is where he is. He's on the up and up. He's dating Emma too, so shout out to Madcap Moss. He's tapping Emma. So after that,
well, I think might go back to WWE though. Now that I heard she's a free agent from Impact.
If that's the case, then good, because Triple H needs to continue to rejuvenate the women's division over there. I put her
especially
on
that SmackDown women's division. They could use Emma.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe Sasha and Naomi should be put on SmackDown as well if we are looking at them coming back soon. But the main show, speaking of the women. Main show started off with Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka versus Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. I was actually a little shocked that they decided to start the show off with this match, but I'm not really complaining that much. Bayley's crew got new theme music, and their new name is now official. It is called Damage Control. The crowd was fucking hot for Bayley. They were doing the UK Bayley chant that we heard all those years ago at NXT TakeOver. I believe it was NXT TakeOver London when she was facing Nia Jax in that match where Bayley was she was being compared to John Cena at the time, but everyone fucking loved her. But that right there was a great thing to see, and you could tell Bayley, she was loving it. She was just soaking it in, even though she was trying to hold back a smile because she's a heel. So we got a big frenzy early on. We had a triple suplex by Bianca, Alexa, and Asuka early on. Bianca with a handspring moonsault onto all three members of Damage Control. Bayley then tried to shut down the fans for cheering her, but obviously that did not work because the fans just got louder. We had a tag to Asuka. She delivered a running bulldog to Bayley. Io Sky with a missile dropkick to Asuka. Asuka was then isolated. She tagged in Bliss. Bliss with a cannonball off the apron to Bayley, and then she got shotgun dropkicked by Dakota Kai right into the barricade. Listen, Alexa Bliss sucks. I'll tell you this right now. I'm counting down the days until Alexa Bliss retires, and we don't have to see her pretend to wrestle again. But I will say this. She was actually in there taking some solid bumps. That shotgun dropkick actually looked pretty nasty. So I will give her a little bit of credit there. Bliss was then isolated before Asuka tagged in with a missile dropkick and a German suplex to Io Sky. Very nicely done. Bayley and Kai then saved it. We had a Bayley to belly to Bliss. Bayley with a sliding clothesline to Asuka for a 2. Asuka then tagged in Bianca. She took it to Bayley, hit a spine buster and a standing moonsault for a 2. Belair and Bayley were up on the top. Bayley, Asuka, and Bliss were on top. And Bayley got double suplexed by Bliss and Asuka using the platform of Bianca's back as a means to pull Bayley off the top rope in a double suplex. That looked pretty impressive. We had a moonsault by Io onto the floor, onto Bliss and Asuka. Kai got military pressed by Bianca and then dropped into a fallaway slam. Bianca with a powerbomb. I believe she went for a KOD, but Kai caught her in a scorpion kick. Bianca then got booted in the face by Kai. Tagged to Io. Bayley hit the rose plant. And then Io with the over-the-moon salt. And then Bayley pinned Bianca, stacked her up in a jackknife cover for the 1-2-3 win. The match itself is very good. Little sloppy here and there, but overall we got a very good women's match. And this was a very nice bridge to get to Extreme Rules because Bianca did not need to defend the Raw Women's Championship. Not against Bayley because it made no sense since Bayley just returned. Bianca was the one pinned by Bayley. Normally, I would be a little bit mad about this, but I'm actually not. Obviously, I would have taken Bliss to have taken the pin easily. If anything, I would have had Alexa Bliss be the one to get pinned by Bayley to win the match. But I'm not mad about this. I'm really not that upset about it. Mainly because of the fact that Bianca Belair, though she's a champion, she just took 3 finishers in a row. I mean, if you kick out of that, Bianca Belair is pretty much fucking invincible and no one's going to beat her. And that wouldn't really look good. But overall, I'm not too mad about it, mainly because Bianca, for the most part, throughout her championship title reign, has been protected. Bianca, I think this is the first time throughout her Raw Women's title reign since WrestleMania that she was pinned. I don't remember a time where she's ever gotten pinned as the Raw Women's Champion during this reign up until now. So I'm not as mad about it. And on top of that, it seems as though Bayley is going to be the one to take the Raw Women's title from Bianca at Extreme Rules. And if that's the case, I'm not going to complain about that. And I stated why this would happen. I talked about this with Jeffrey Turner, I believe. I talked about this with Jeffrey Turner on Thursday when we were previewing and predicting Clash at the Castle. I talked about it, and I said that for so many years, the women's title match at WrestleMania should have been Sasha and Bayley. They should have done it at WrestleMania 33. They didn't do it. Should have done it at WrestleMania 34. They didn't do it. Should have done it at WrestleMania 35. They didn't do it. Should have done it at WrestleMania 36. They didn't do it. You can even make the argument that they should have done it at WrestleMania 37. They didn't do it. And why? It's because Vince McMahon knew if he took 2 Triple H women, 2 individuals that Triple H took, made into stars, 2 women that put on probably the best women's matchup in the history of women's wrestling back at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 1 in 2015, if he took these women, put them on WrestleMania in a women's championship match, those women would make everyone else on the show look like amateurs, and Triple H would be praised. Triple H would be heralded as a king. So Vince McMahon deliberately did not do that match at WrestleMania out of pure pettiness. I have a feeling that now Triple H is gone, and he knows that those 2 women should have gotten a fucking women's world title match at WrestleMania, that Triple H is going to take advantage of it. Bayley's going to win the Raw Women's Championship, And then Sasha's going to win the Royal Rumble, and we're getting Sasha and Bayley at WrestleMania 39 with Sasha Banks winning, and they're going to recreate what they did at TakeOver Brooklyn 1. That's what I have a feeling is going to happen. And on top of that, it's going to make a lot of people in Vince McMahon's camp salty, which I really love. Really love that. On top of that, it looks like we're getting a women's War Games match. Now, I understand why they did what they did on Monday Night Raw, but they still could have done that with Io and Dakota winning the titles. However, what I have a feeling, and I predicted this before the show even took place, I have a feeling that we're going to get a 5-on-5 women's War Games match at Survivor Series. We are going to see Raquel, Aaliyah, Asuka, Bliss, and Bianca, and they're going to take on Bayley, Damage Control, and they're going to be the ones to bring back Sasha and Naomi, and they're going to return at Survivor Series. Bayley's going to be building up the fact that she found 2 women, and in the end, they're going to return at Survivor Series is Sasha and Naomi, and we're going to get that 5-on-5 women's War Games match. But as far as this match goes, a very good match. Not I wasn't expecting it to be kicked off, but it was not bad at all. It was very solid, and the right team won. And I can see Bayley and Bianca taking place at Extreme Rules with Bayley winning the Raw Women's Championship. Nick, let me hear it.
Yeah, pretty much what you just said there, DJ Storms. Fun 6-woman tag match. Bianca, the Raw Women's Champion, being pinned clean. I expected Bliss to be pinned here, but Bianca being pinned here, the Raw Women's Champion, did surprise me. Now, I would normally shit on this as well, but it took 3 finishers to take down Bianca, and at least that protects Bianca, because it's like, if she would have took 3 finishers and kick out, would have been like how like John Cena was a decade ago when he was Super Cena and he'd kick out of everything. It's not what you really want to do. It kind of insults the fans' intelligence, and it kind of throws people way off, and that's just not good. Now, this also definitely sets up for Extreme Rules in Philly, actually the home of WrestleMania 40, by the way. I'm curious to see if they do go with Bayley and Bianca at Extreme Rules. I think Bayley wins the Raw Women's title there, and I'm curious to see what kind of match type, because that's another thing. Usually, I don't like these gimmick pay-per-views, but if Triple H books gimmick pay-per-views like Extreme Rules right, then maybe I don't mind it. I mean, I would have Extreme Rules go away and replace it with like Unforgiven, but that's just me. But
if we have Extreme Rules, I can absolutely see Triple H doing a stipulation for almost every match, which would actually live up to the name.
Extreme Rules has not felt like Extreme Rules at all since like 2008/2009, to be totally honest. 2008 one was very good.
Yeah, 2009 was the first Extreme Rules pay-per-view, which was a very good show. 2010 wasn't bad either. 2010 wasn't bad. 2011 wasn't bad. 2012 was a great fucking Extreme Rules. I remember that show. That show had a lot of great fucking wrestling. Sheamus and Daniel Bryan put on a great 2 out of 3 falls match. Punk and Jericho for the WWE Championship. Excellent street fight. And then Brock Lesnar and John Cena. Fucking war that was. That was a damn good Extreme Rules pay-per-view. So if we get anything like that, I got no issue with Extreme Rules.
Now, it makes me also wonder if Bayley does win the Raw Women's title at Extreme Rules. What if Io and Dakota win the tag titles that same night in Philly? Because remember, if you watch Monday and Raw, Io was the legal woman. Aaliyah pinned the wrong woman in the match.
They could very well do that. Here's a question, though. Would they be doing that at Extreme Rules, or would you want them to do that after they inevitably win War Games? Because if Bayley and her crew recruit Sasha and Naomi, they're inevitably winning War Games, which I guess could put them next in line for a tag team title opportunity. But then, you know, who would Aaliyah and Raquel defend against in the interim? There really isn't no one. So maybe we do get a women's tag team title match between Damage Control, Aaliyah, and Raquel at Extreme Rules, and maybe they do win the titles there.
Maybe. I mean, we'll see where Triple H goes. I mean, I will say this about Triple H. If this was Vince, I don't trust him at all. But Triple H, I give him the benefit of the doubt, and I trust him with which path he wants to go with. And whatever path he chooses, I honestly think we're in for one hell of a ride, man. And if Triple H's track record with NXT with the black and gold shows that, it's like I gotta put my trust in Triple H, and I absolutely do at the end of the day. He knows what the fans want. He knows what works. He knows what's not going to work. Triple H just gets it. He just gets it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I do think we get Sasha and Naomi back soon, too.
Yes, I do still believe that it should have been Io and Dakota to win the championships, regardless of whether they're building towards a women's War Games. But they will get the tag team titles at some point, and Bayley's going to be the Raw Women's Champion. And those three women as the faces of the division is going to be a great thing to see. This was a very solid match, very good match to kick off the show with the right team winning. And we are building towards Extreme Rules now with Bianca Belair and Bayley, and potentially a women's tag team title rematch between Damage Control, Aaliyah, and Raquel. We then go into what could potentially be the match of the year for WWE when this is all said and done. Sheamus and Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. Now, before the match even began, you saw Marcel Bartel, Ludwig Kaiser. He was standing there in all black, and he introduced everyone to Giovanni Vinci, the former Fabian Eichner, and Imperium was reunited. I looked at this with a fucking smile from ear to ear. I fucking loved every single second of this. And you know what? If you still want to have Giovanni Vinci do the whole Italian model, rich suits and fucking cufflinks gimmick, you could still do that, because I'll tell you this. In NXT, that was one of the very few gimmicks in which I didn't mind. He actually looked great. If he wanted to, he could legit have been a solid singles act, a solid mid-card act with that Giovanni Vinci character. That was actually a great look for him. He looked like $1 million. He's a great fucking wrestler. He may be the best wrestler out of all of Imperium. So I didn't mind that gimmick. Now that he's back with Fabian Eichner, or back with Marcel Bartel, Ludwig Kaiser, now that Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci are back as a tag team, this adds another tag team to the mix, and it brings about a faction that is pretty much a shoo-in for Roman Reigns and the Usos before Roman Reigns gets to The Rock. Can you imagine if we get the Bloodline and Imperium? That right there is a shoo-in faction that is easily going to give us a few weeks, maybe even a few months of television that could very well be the most captivating television throughout the entire fall and winter months of WWE. This is a fantastic move, so I was ecstatic to see this. So this was fucking awesome. Imperium and the Brawling Brutes, they were fighting before the match even began, but if you notice, Sheamus and Gunther, they were staring at each other. They did not take their fucking eyes off of each other while everyone else was brawling around them. This was fucking great. This was a great fucking start. So Imperium and the Brawling Brutes, they took each other out and they brawled to the back. The match started. Both of these guys were swinging for the fucking fences. Chops and punches. We had a big boot by Gunther, a big suplex by Sheamus. Sheamus then sent Gunther into the steps. Gunther then sent Sheamus to the floor with a boot. Gunther then body slammed Sheamus on the lower half of the steps. Fucking brutal. Both men traded strikes back and forth. These chops are fucking brutal, dude. Sheamus's chest looked like fucking ground beef. It was fucking brutal. I think I probably, if I would have taken some of those shots, I probably would have died within 5 minutes. So, Sheamus, he got shot. He got chopped into fucking oblivion. He got chopped and he got forearmed over and over and over again. The crowd was actually very much behind Sheamus. It actually makes me wonder if they want to have Sheamus go forth with a babyface run now, because Sheamus, he's been a heel for a little bit. So if Sheamus wants to go babyface, I definitely wouldn't mind that, because his babyface run in 2012 when he was the World Heavyweight Champion, and then in 2014 when he was the United States Champion, he put on some damn good fucking matches throughout both of those reigns. I remember Sheamus, he put on some damn good matches with Bryan as World Champion. He put on a damn good Fatal 4-Way with Orton, Del Rio, and who else was in that? Jericho as well. It was a Fatal 4-Way at Over the Limit. Some of his matches with Del Rio weren't bad. He put on a very good match with Dolph Ziggler a couple times. So Sheamus, when he was, even the Big Show. The Big Show, great fucking match with Sheamus back at Hell in a Cell. Those two had some great fucking matches throughout 2012. So Sheamus, even back then, he was great. And then when he was the United States Champion, I remember he had some damn good matches as United States Champion with Ambrose, with Cesaro. Del Rio mixed it up a little bit too. So Sheamus as a singles babyface, he's not bad at all. And after this, I would not mind him going babyface. So Sheamus was over as fuck in Cardiff. Sheamus was hyping himself up. It didn't work too well because Sheamus was sent over the announce table. Sheamus then went for the beats of the Bowdrin to the chest. He just delivered them over and over again. He was doing it over the barricade, doing it over the announce table, doing it over the ropes. We had a big German suplex by Gunther, a punt knee by Sheamus for a 2. Gunther then with a sleeper hold. Sheamus powered up Gunther in white noise, which looked great. Gunther kicked out. Gunther then with a shotgun drop kick and a power bomb. Sheamus stayed alive. Both men were jockeying for position, and Sheamus hit the Celtic Cross, which I don't think I've seen him do in years. Sheamus hit the Celtic Cross, and I thought that was it. I legit thought Sheamus was the Intercontinental Champion right here, and if he won, I would have not have been shocked here. Gunther kicked out. Awesome near fall. Gunther was then being set up for a bro kick. All of a sudden, Sheamus's back gave out because that was the back that Gunther was working on the entire time. Gunther then with another power bomb. Sheamus got up again. He refused to stay down. It honestly reminded me back at NXT TakeOver Chicago, too, when Lars Sullivan and Aleister Black had a match, and Black delivered the Black Mass, and Sullivan got right back up. That's what this reminded me of. So Sheamus had this fucking grimacing look on his face like he was ready to fucking kill Gunther. He's like, you're going to have to fucking kill me to keep me down. Gunther then, with a fucking lariat that would make JBL proud, turning Sheamus inside out. Gunther pinned Sheamus to retain the Intercontinental Championship in what was the match of the fucking year for many people. I think a lot of people are going to look back on this match and say that it was not just the match of the night, it may have been the match of the fucking year. This was fucking fantastic from start to finish. This not only did this solidify the Intercontinental Championship as an important title, but Gunther, I'm going to say this right now, Gunther is the best Intercontinental Champion that we've had since Seth Rollins and his Intercontinental title reign in 2018. His matches with Ricochet, his match with Nakamura, and now his match with Sheamus, those 3 matches back to back to back showed you how good Gunther is. And now, Gunther, with a big win like this, he is really establishing himself as a force to be reckoned with. Now, I would not have minded if Sheamus won because I had it in my mind that Drew was going to win and we could potentially get a Drew and Gunther match, but I was still picking Gunther, and that's what we got. We got Gunther winning. This was the right outcome, and Gunther retains the Intercontinental Championship in what was a fucking war. I have absolutely no other words to describe it, and my words will not do it justice, and neither will Nick's. You need to go back and rewatch this. 20 minutes of pure fucking brutality. You will feel the fucking strikes that they were delivering. It was incredible. Afterwards, Sheamus actually got a standing ovation, and it is a great thing to see. It is a great thing to see a guy like Sheamus, with how good he has been and how good he has always been over the years, not just in the last year or two. I'm talking about how good he's been throughout the course of his WWE career. It is a great thing to see a guy like Sheamus being appreciated. And I've even said this before, and I will continue to say it. Sheamus is going to go down as the greatest Irish professional wrestler in WWE history. Maybe even all of professional wrestling, period. I don't think I've seen another Irish wrestler that has been as good as Sheamus. Maybe Finn Balor, but Sheamus, to me, Sheamus is just on another fucking level with everything that he's done throughout the course of his career. He is great. Let me throw it over to you, Nick. What do you got to say about this?
What do I say? Match of the year candidate, absolutely for sure. This was not a match. This was a war. This was a fight. And Sheamus even said a few weeks ago on SmackDown, he's had banger after banger after banger after banger, and he said this one's
fucking lying.
He was not lying. He even JD from NY206, shout out to him, by the way. He even mentioned it. This is going to be a banger. Yeah, man, Sheamus is a face. I mean, in my opinion, he works better as a heel, but I mean, his face run in the beginning, this is just my opinion. I remember him in 2011. He was confronting Mark Henry on SmackDown when he had the Hall of Pain stuff going on, and then Sheamus won the 2012 Royal Rumble. I mean, Sheamus's promos as a face was very corny, but that was Vince. Under Triple H, I think it will work. I mean, if he's booked as a badass face, I don't hate Sheamus as a face at all. And plus, also just thinking, I don't think SmackDown on the main event side, I don't think they have much baby faces, do they? Just have Drew and that's it. So maybe Sheamus is a face.
I would not mind seeing Sheamus and Roman as a one-off.
Yeah, that too. I mean, you have Karrion Kross, you got Roman Reigns, and you have Gunther. That's 3 heels. Drew's the only face there is. So they kind of need faces. So Sheamus is a face. If this is what they're doing, I'm okay with this. Now, with Imperium, this adds another tag into the SmackDown tag division, which they desperately need. So this is a good move. And also, I don't know if you got the same feeling I thought of yesterday. Giovanni Vinci being called up from NXT to SmackDown. Do you think that was a statement by Triple H to Bruce Pritchard, who is as good as gone?
Yes, absolutely it was.
And speaking of Bruce, Ryan Cass is now apparently back in NXT, so Bruce's days are absolutely numbered. He's as good as gone.
Wonderful thing to see. Absolutely.
But at the end of this year, early next year, Bruce will be out of there. Just give him back to Conrad Thompson. And Abigail Schill is something to wrestle with shit podcasts and his shit takes.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
And and Gunther, and I would not want to be in that ring with Gunther, man, and his gunshot like chops, man. Holy shit. I lost count how many chops he gave to Sheamus. Brutal.
I actually don't even mind the name anymore. I don't even, no. And on top of that, the way that he says it, it just makes it sound cool. The way that he says it and the way that he comes off in his promos, he just sounds cool.
And honestly, I think Gunther's gonna be IC champ for a long, long time. He ain't losing that title for at least a year.
He's holding that title for at least a year, just like he did the NXT United Kingdom Championship.
Yeah. At this point, like taking the title off Gunther, that should be on the least of people's minds right now. He is doing so good right now.
The only guy that I would even contemplate taking the title off of him would probably be Karrion Kross. That's a match I'd love to see. I'd love to see that match. If you want, here's the thing. I don't see Kross being a world champion at any point in time within the next year. So if next year, sometime like next year at SummerSlam, if you want to do a big fucking match, give me Kross versus Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. And you can have Kross win the championship and he could develop a decent resume for himself. You know, that's how you make the IC title feel important.
Yeah, or if you don't do that, I don't know if what his contract said, his current contract said his status is with New Japan. I know Triple H wants to bring Bronson Reed back. What if we do Bronson Reed and Gunther for the Intercontinental?
I wouldn't mind that. I would not mind that.
The Tsunami versus the Gunther Splash.
I would not mind that.
Only sad thing is Wade Barrett's not on SmackDown commentary to say the Tsunami.
Maybe they call him up.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I would love to see Bronson Reed back. He should have never been fired from the start last year in August.
But I absolutely see Gunther holding that championship for a long time as well. Who does he face next? Do they go with Madcap Moss? Do they go with someone new, like from Monday Night Raw or something like that? Because
or if they move someone from Raw to SmackDown, I'd like this if they do that. Or we saw him back in his Pete Dunne ring gear this past Friday on SmackDown. I'd like to see Pete Dunne and Gunther.
They could do that. You know what I'd like to see? I would like to see Lashley drop the United States Championship to someone. I'd like to see Lashley and Gunther and see what they can do.
You move Lashley to SmackDown. I mean, they could use somebody on that roster. And Lashley even said himself, I think, he even said, I remember a reporter interview a while ago, Lashley himself even said he'd love to face Gunther.
If that's the case, then yeah, I'd absolutely do that match, probably at next year's Rumble or at WrestleMania. I'd love to see that. That's a match that a lot of people
been so over as of late. I think it'd go over very well with a guy like Lashley and a guy like Gunther, like two big men. It's like two bulls going at it. And Lashley's gotten, I'll tell you this, Lashley's first run was not good at all when he was ECW champion and all. His second run has been a hell of a lot better. Him leaving, going on the Indies and Impact, reinvented himself, really helped him in the long run. And the Lashley-Gunther match, now Gunther would go over, but Lashley and Gunther, take my money, man. Take my money. You're not going to hear one. You won't hear one complaint out of me.
Yeah, I can absolutely see that happening at some point. But this was a great match, excellent match, match of the year candidate in many people's eyes. Right outcome with Gunther retaining. We go into Liv Morgan versus Shayna Baszler for the SmackDown Women's Championship. This easily was the worst match of the night. However, However, that doesn't mean it was terrible. And I'm saying that mainly because of the fact that, listen, no one was following Gunther and Sheamus. It doesn't matter what the fuck you put after that match. No one, and I mean absolutely no one, was going to be able to follow Gunther and Sheamus, no matter if you put the fucking Undertaker in there, wrestling fucking Goldberg in their prime. Doesn't even matter. But the match itself was not bad. The match itself wasn't bad. I expected a lot worse, and they actually ended up matching up pretty decently together. So I can't necessarily sit here and complain about it all. The outcome was very, very surprising. But I'm not as mad as I thought I would have been. And I'll explain why after we go over the match. So Morgan and Baszler, they traded roll-ups and submission holds early on, back and forth. We had a Hurricane Rana by Liv and a drop kick to Baszler's back. Baszler then bounced Morgan's arm off the middle rope. That became the story of the match. She sent Morgan arm first into the barricade. Liv Morgan was screaming and selling the shit out of this, which is nice to see. She actually did a decent job selling there, did Liv Morgan. Baszler targeted the arm, hit a nice German suplex and a punt knee for a 2. Morgan then mounted a comeback. We had a missile drop kick from the middle rope. Morgan with a kick combination and a springboard code breaker, which looked pretty decent. That got a 2. Baszler with a punt knee, catching Morgan jumping off the middle rope for a 2. Morgan then locked on an armbar, which the commentators pointed out that she was training with Matt Riddle, who has an MMA background just like Shayna Baszler. So that was a nice little detail right there. I appreciated that. So the armbar was in deep. Baszler got out. She stomped on the injured arm of Liv Morgan. She hit a gut-wrench slam and then another punt knee. Morgan kicked out again. Both women were then on the top. Morgan then bounced Shayna Baszler off the top turnbuckle. Morgan with a slingshot sunset flip powerbomb, which looked very nice. That got a 2 count. And when Baszler kicked out, the impact of Baszler and the pressure, the spring of Baszler's kick out, pushed Liv Morgan right into the Karafuda clutch. Liv Morgan then wrenched on the injured arm that she had Shayna Baszler locked in an armbar earlier in the match. She transitioned into an armbar. Liv then got to the ropes. Shayna wasted a little too much time. She went for something else, but Liv Morgan caught her in a code breaker, and then she hit an Oblivion to beat Shayna Baszler and retain the SmackDown Women's Championship. This was easily, like I said, the worst match of the night. However, it was not terrible. It was not terrible. It was a hell of a lot better than a lot of people thought it would have been. So I will give them credit there. And normally I would have been mad, and I did say that Liv needed to lose the championship just because of the damage already being done and the fact that all of Vince McMahon's booking just made Liv Morgan look like a glorified enhancement talent, and she didn't look legit in there against anyone just because of how Vince booked her, and by the time Triple H took over, it was too late. However, I appreciate the fact that they gave Liv Morgan a solid, definitive win. This was a definitive win, which Liv Morgan has never had in a big match situation, and here she is winning definitively. So I appreciate that. And on top of that, this isn't over. This isn't over because if you guys remember, a few weeks ago on SmackDown, during the build for this, when Ronda Rousey was going all ape shit on the officials, Shayna came out and she was trying to talk some sense into Ronda Rousey. And then Ronda responded to Shayna sarcastically by saying, you know, you used to be a killer. With Shayna losing this match, this could be a scenario where Shayna Baszler wakes up, she goes to Ronda, she says that you're right, and they join forces, and Ronda Rousey brings Shayna Baszler back to being the killer that we all know she should be. And on top of that, Shayna standing next to Ronda will give Shayna some star power. And them being together would actually give the SmackDown Women's Division a spark that it desperately needs right now. And with that happening, Shayna Baszler could very well get another match against Liv Morgan, whether it's at Extreme Rules, whether it's at Crown Jewel, whether it's at Survivor Series. Another match is coming with Shayna Baszler and Liv Morgan because of Ronda Rousey facilitating Shayna Baszler into being the killer that we all know she should have been on the main roster coming out of NXT. Because let's be real, who else is there? You're not going to give the title back to Ronda Rousey. She doesn't need it. Ronda is going into WrestleMania to fight Becky without the championship. And then you got Charlotte, who's due back any day now. I don't know when she's coming back. We haven't seen her since May 8th, WrestleMania Backlash. We're sitting on September 4th, and we've seen no sign of her. So she's due back any day now. She doesn't need to win the championship. Shayna Baszler is the best option to take the title off of Liv Morgan. And based on what happened here and the promo, the little altercation that we had with Ronda and Shayna a few weeks ago, that right there, it kind of played in to what we saw here. Ronda, in the end, was right. Ronda, in the end, came off smart. Ronda, in the end, came off like a genius. You know, you used to be a killer. Shayna Baszler had the opportunity to prove that she's still a killer, and she failed. So what's going to happen? They're going to join forces, and Ronda's going to bring Shayna back to being the killer that we all know she should be. I know I said I would have complained about this, but I can't really complain about it when there's a storyline in there that could result in Shayna being where she needs to be. Because right now, Shayna was very lukewarm. She didn't look like the Shayna Baszler of old. Yes, I would have gone with her winning the SmackDown Women's title. I would have absolutely given her the title. But the fact that she didn't win the title, I can't really complain about it now, because if we're going to get that storyline with Shayna and Ronda joining forces and Shayna becoming the Shayna Baszler of NXT and then taking the title off of Liv Morgan down the line, I got no issue with that. And Liv Morgan is not being looked at as a transitional champion. So I have no problem with what happened here. The story is there. And now Triple H is going to look to carry it out. This is not over. This is far from over. Not a bad match at all. Not a bad match at all. A lot better than people expected, but easily the worst match of the night. Nick, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I felt like the same way too. I expected going into this to be not very good at all, because with Liv Morgan and her offense is not really believable against somebody like a Shayna, like a Ronda, but not really a bad match at all. And yeah, worst match of the show, but not as bad as I was anticipating it to be. And I was thinking this too. I was picking Shayna to win yesterday, but maybe Liv Morgan getting a first legit clean win as the SmackDown Women's Champion. Maybe they want that for Liv before she drops the title. Maybe going into Extreme Rules to either Shayna. Maybe we see a triple threat between Shayna, Ronda, and Liv at Extreme Rules, and maybe that's where Liv drops the title. I could see that. That's what I thought coming out of yesterday, because Liv winning shocked me. And listen, I don't hate Liv Morgan, but the way Vince and Bruce booked her, and then they gave her the SmackDown Women's title when she lost for months, lost to Becky Lynch at day one, and then teamed with Rhea Ripley.
How many matches with Carmella did we have to sit and endure? How many matches with Carmella?
Yeah, like I've lost count, like rinse and repeat on Monday Night Raw, and it's like you give her the SmackDown Women's title after giving her the briefcase. I mean, happy for Liv, but it was too little too late. It was too little too late, and it's not her fault. It's not her fault. They even had her cut a promo, I'm never going to give up, I'm never going to quit, yet she tapped out to Ronda when she was pinning Ronda at SummerSlam, so that makes Liv Morgan a bullshit artist and a liar. And it's not her fault. That's why the fans booed her so many weeks ago, coming out of SummerSlam. Like, the way she's been booked, I don't know who has been scripting her, but whoever's writing her promos is a blithering idiot. It needs to be fired. Seriously.
Her promos leading up to this match haven't been bad. It's just the fact that there's no substance to them because of how terrible she's been booked leading up to her title win. Did you know that before she won the SmackDown Women's Championship, en route to beating Ronda Rousey, she lost every single pay-per-view match that she had this year before she beat Rousey at Money in the Bank? Yet we're supposed to take her seriously as the champion.
That's pathetic. Just goes to show you how out of touch Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard are. This is why I'm happy that Vince McMahon's gone. Seriously.
Well, we're going to have to wait and see, but this isn't over. This can't be over.
No, not at all.
Shayna Baszler and Ronda will join forces, and Ronda Rousey will bring back the Stone Cold Killer Shayna Baszler of old. And
the
Shayna
NXT Shayna Baszler, where she was stomping on the arm.
Yes. And she's the best option to beat Liv. Shayna and Liv will have another match. And based on what we saw here, I don't mind it. The match wasn't bad. And if we get another one with a stipulation, that could very well make the match better. So I don't have a problem with it.
There's a reason. Triple H, he does things for a reason. It's done by design. You think he just picked Shayna just for it? He he did it by design because Ronda and Shayna are best friends. Like, Triple H does things that make sense. He doesn't do shit that doesn't make sense. Usually he does shit for a reason that has a storyline logical purpose. That's Triple H.
Yes.
So Liv Morgan and Shayna Baszler. I mean, Shayna losing clean here, but yeah, I can see Ronda waking Shayna right up, and I do see them joining forces, not winning the tag titles, but like a dominant force.
Yes, absolutely.
Similar to Kane and Undertaker back in 1998 when they were feuding with Stone Cold Steve Austin and Mankind back in the day.
Yes, absolutely.
They were never tag team champions, but they were a dominant force.
Yes, very true. Let's take a little break here for a minute. Once again, thank you all for watching. We got 12 people watching. Really solid stuff. We got Normal Guy in here. Normal Guy. We got DJ Sums, Mac the Giants fan, Earl Cole, the Final Hoss, DD. We got a lot of good people in here. So here's what I need y'all to do. If you're watching on my channel, like the stream if you haven't already done so, and then go over to the Hardcore Sports channel. The link is in the description, and I want you to like the stream over there. We actually just gained another subscriber on the Hardcore Sports channel, so shout out to whoever subscribed. Appreciate you. And if you're on the Hardcore Sports channel, come over to my channel, like the video over there. We have 3 more matches to dissect before we get on out of here. We got Worlds Collide today at 4. We got All Out today at 7 p.m. with 0 Hour. We got a lot of shit to go over. So people, continue to share it out. Like the stream if you haven't already done so. Go over to my stream, like it. Go over to the Hardcore Sports stream on YouTube and like it too. We're also streaming live on Hardcore Sports Twitch. All the way down there at the bottom, you see at Hardcore Sports 1. Streaming live on Hardcore Sports Twitter at Hardcore Sports N. And you can also follow Hardcore Sports on Instagram at Hardcore Sports Network. Let's move on here to Rey Mysterio and Edge versus the Judgment Day. It's a very good tag team match right here. Went about 13 minutes, and all 4 men did very well. Really nothing over the top, but it was a very good tag team match, and the crowd was singing Edge's theme song. They were singing Metalingus by Alter Bridge as Edge was coming out. Edge was also wearing a luchador mask to go along with the fact that he was teaming with Rey Mysterio. If I could, I would legitimately tell every single American fan that whenever someone like Edge comes out, sing his fucking theme song, just like the UK people do. I wish that the UK crowds were 1/1000th of what US crowds are. I really wish that the US crowds or 1/1000th of whatever the UK crowds are. Because the UK crowds may very well be the best, and I am talking about the best type of wrestling crowds. It's them and Chicago. Them and Chicago are the top 2 wrestling crowds, but I'm putting UK crowds above everything else. This was fucking amazing. And you can imagine Edge feeling that. That right there must have made him feel so fucking happy. I actually kind of wish that they would have sung the other side too when Judgment Day came out. But so we had some back and forth by Balor and Mysterio early on. Priest and Edge then tagged in. Edge was mega fucking over here. So Edge, he then launched Mysterio into a moonsault onto the Judgment Day. Priest then stopped Mysterio with a broken arrow. Rey was isolated. We had a swift axe kick by Balor for 2. Balor actually got a decent-looking axe kick. Rey Mysterio he crotched Damian Priest on the barricade. Did not feel good for Damian Priest right there. We had a tag to Edge, tag to Balor. He lit up both men. We had an execution by Balor. We had a senton off the apron by Rey to Priest. Edge then draped Balor over the ropes, and Edge delivered a 619 to Balor. It was a sloppy-looking 619, but it was a 619 nonetheless. Edge with a 619 on Balor. Priest then saved it after Rey Mysterio hit a splash on Balor, and Damian Priest, he stopped the cover. Edge then speared Priest through the ropes like Big E does to the floor, but Edge actually does it a lot better. Edge doesn't fucking kill himself like Big E. We had Rey Mysterio He was then tossed out of the ring. Balor with a sling blade, a shotgun drop kick. Dominic then distracted the ref. Ray with a Frankensteiner to Balor off the top. Rhea Ripley then attacked Dominic. Ray with a suicide dive, taking out his son and Rhea Ripley. Ray went for a 619 on Balor. Balor stopped him with a wicked lariat. Dominic then tripped up Balor behind the referee's back. Ray hit a 619. Edge hit a spear. And Edge and Rey Mysterio win. A very good tag team match here. Very entertaining. I thought that the Judgment Day was going to win, but I don't mind that Edge and Mysterio won because of what happened with Dominic at the end. And if you paid attention, you'll understand why Dominic turned heel. Dominic was being a team player. Dominic was being a team player the entire match. He wasn't complaining. He wasn't giving anyone any nasty looks. Dominic was a little off. All of a sudden, Dominic kicked Edge right in the balls. And Edge, with this fucking great look on his face, Edge sold it like a fucking master. Ray was then trying to talk some sense into Dominic, and then Dominic decided to do his best Gunther impersonation. He clotheslined the shit out of his father. The crowd was booing the shit out of Dominic. All the while, and this was probably this was my favorite thing about this entire thing. They panned over to the Judgment Day, and all three of them are fucking laughing at this. All three of them are laughing like fucking assholes. Like they're three fucking bullies watching the fucking nerd get beat up during race. They're fucking laughing at this. And I couldn't help but laugh myself. So Judgment Day's fucking laughing their ass off at this. And then Dominic just walked away. And you know why this was so great? Again, Dominic was being a team player. Dominic understood why Rey Mysterio took Edge over him to fight the Judgment Day. Dominic helped Rey Mysterio and Edge. But if you paid attention, and this is a great detail right here that I don't think many people are talking about, nor did many people notice. Rey Mysterio and Edge, after they won, they were celebrating and they were ignoring Dominic. They were ignoring Dominic and not acknowledging the fact that Dominic helped them. And Dominic's looking at him with this look like, I just fucking helped you and you're not even going to acknowledge the fact that I fucking helped you? I don't even get a fucking thank you? Dominic was pushed over the edge because he did not feel respected. He did not feel appreciated by Edge and Rey Mysterio, that he helped them. He interfered in the match 3 times to help them beat the group that has been giving them shit for months, and he doesn't even get a thank you. And that sent him over the edge to turn heel on Edge and clothesline his father. It is so simple. Dominic had no problem going into this match. Dominic had no problem at all. But because of the lack of appreciation and the fact that Edge and Rey Mysterio did not acknowledge the fact that Dominic helped them vanquish the Judgment Day, he felt disrespected. And he took his disrespect out on Edge and Rey Mysterio. This was great. This was a great heel turn. And it's so simple. I helped you, and you're not even going to give me a thank you. You're not going to give me my flowers. It was a team effort. Yet I'm not part of this team. This is great. And if he's a part of the Judgment Day, the interactions between him and Rhea Ripley have been great. So I am all for this. This was brilliantly played out, awesomely done, very good match, and an even better heel turn for Dominic. I'm very interested in seeing where this goes. And the one thing that I do want to see, I know a lot of people, they want to see the Rey versus Dominic match, but since this feud with Judgment Day and Edge doesn't seem to be over, I want to see a match with Edge and Balor. I really want to see that match. And if you go with that match towards Extreme Rules, I'm all for that. But this was a very good tag team match with a great heel turn. Let me hear it, Nick.
Yeah, as Adam Carl, I know he's not in the chat right now. I know for a fact he would be proud watching what happened with this yesterday with Dominic turning on his father. The clothesline to Rey reminded me how Eddie Guerrero turned on Rey Mysterio in 2005 with their feud and such. even the pairing with Rhea and Dominic reminds me a lot of Chyna and Eddie Guerrero back in the year 2000
I've
on
seen
Raw.
that. Yes, I've seen
So
that.
if that's a page out of that, I could see this, and you know what? I love it. Dominic Mysterio or Dominic, or either way, before he turned heel yesterday, he had no personality, no charisma, and if you weren't going to turn him heel, I would have sent him down to NXT because like he had a good match with Seth Rollins at SummerSlam 2020, and he digressed after that. And
He
I feel like
didn't digress. It was the booking. Him and Rey
Yeah.
Mysterio should have been a staple in the tag team division. And, of course, that didn't happen because WWE doesn't respect tag team wrestling. He digressed because of booking.
Yeah. Now, yeah. And with Dom turning, the Edge selling the low blow was priceless, man. Priceless. Dominic joining the Judgment Day, I think, is the best thing for him. It gives him personality as a heel. It gets better with promos and such. And with the Judgment Day, at first, like when Edge was kicked out of his own group, I was like, yeah, Judgment Day's done an arrival, just get rid of it. But these past few weeks, and ever since Triple H took over, in these past few weeks, Judgment Day's been really growing on me. I mean, hell, they gave them their own individual themes, and then together the other side by Alter Bridge theme with the Judgment Day group. And I mean, if you want to add Dom and Priest as a tag team, you could do that. You could have Rhea go for the Raw Women's title. You could have Balor go after the WWE title if you get that title back on Raw, which I hope they do. The Judgment Day, man, like I said, at first I was like, yeah, get rid of it. It's dead. Have Edge kill it. But no, I changed my mind completely on it, and they've really been growing on me, especially these Rhea and Dominic interactions. Reminds me a lot of Eddie and Chyna back in the day, like 22 years ago. And if Rey ever decides to retire, could you see him and Dominic facing at like a WrestleMania where Rey hands over the mask, or could you see something else?
No, I could absolutely see something like that. It all depends when they want to do it. It all depends how they want to do it. But right now, I'm actually very much looking forward to seeing what this feud, now with Dominic turning heel, brings about. I think this could bring about some really interesting TV. I still wish Edge was still a part of the Judgment Day, only because of the fact that with now how good Judgment Day is, it would be great to see Edge a part of that group. But one thing I will say is after Sammy and Kevin win the Undisputed Tag Team Championships, Judgment Day should be built up to take those titles off them with Balor and Priest winning. I would absolutely love to see that.
I mean, like I said, Dominic and Priest pairing them up as Judgment Day in the tag division. I mean, Dominic is like Puerto Rican or something. So is Priest. So, I mean, why not?
That wouldn't be bad, but if we're talking about a better match, Balor and Priest would be the better tag team.
Yeah.
But this was a very good match. This was still a very good match, and we still got a very solid heel turn here. And I'm very interested in seeing what happens. Any matches between any 4 or 5 of these guys would be great. And I would love to see an Edge versus Balor match. That's the one thing I'm looking forward to the most. We go into our co-main event, which was Matt Riddle. First name is back. Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins looked like a fucking devil, which was fucking tremendous. Rollins, listen, he looked ridiculous, but in the best possible way. Rollins looked ridiculous, but in the best possible way. And then Riddle came out dressed as Patrick from SpongeBob. Now, listen, if Matt Riddle wants to get goofy with his costumes, I got no issue with that, because in the ring, if this is the type of Matt Riddle that we're going to get in the ring, no issue whatsoever. If you were to tell me that this was your favorite match of the night, I would not look at you in a weird way whatsoever. This match was fantastic. Probably the second best match of the night. So the fight started right out of the gate. Riddle with a gut wrench suplex. He brought the fight to Rollins. Rollins with a powerbomb into the barricade to Riddle. Rollins wore down Riddle with a big super kick for a 2. Nice Falcon Arrow for a 2. Rollins just kept on pouring the aggression on Matt Riddle with a double stomp in the Tree of Woe position for a 2. Rollins with a superplex. He went for the Falcon Arrow, but Riddle transitioned into a Fisherman Buster right on the money. Riddle with a final flash, big exploder, nice PK, and then a springboard floating bro to the floor. Riddle with a bro to sleep, power bomb, final flash, Rollins kicked out. Great flurry. We had a floating bro, but Rollins got the knees up. Rollins then got caught in a triangle hold. It was in deep. Rollins got out, and Rollins then with a reverse bro Derek. It wasn't a normal bro Derek. It looked more like a neutralizer that Cesaro usually does, but it was decent looking, and it was effective nonetheless. Reverse bro Derek, and Riddle kicked out. So then after that, Rollins went for the Phoenix Splash. We had Riddle moving out of the way. We had some back and forth strikes, kicks and forearms, knees, and Zaguri. A big German suplex by Riddle, a pedigree by Rollins. Riddle kicked out. This sequence was also excellent. Really solid stuff right there. All of a sudden, Riddle was caught on the ropes. Rollins with a draping DDT, mocking Randy Orton. Rollins went for the RKO, and Riddle caught him in a rear naked choke, which looked great. Rollins then unloaded with strikes, or Riddle unloaded with strikes on Rollins. Rollins was then bounced off the announce table. Riddle grabbed the chair. He nearly hit Rollins with it. His emotions got the best of him, and Rollins delivered a stomp to Riddle when he slid back in the ring. And then Rollins jumped from the middle rope. This was the first time I think I've seen this. First time ever, Rollins jumped off the middle rope with a curb stomp on Riddle, and Rollins ended up winning the match 1, 2, 3. This was a fantastic match, and easily probably the second best match of the night. If you were to tell me that this was the best match of the night, I would not look at you in a weird way. This was tremendous. Rollins got the win. A little shocking, but I am not complaining about it because just like Liv Morgan and Shayna, just like Bayley and Bianca, this feud is not over. This feud is going to go and continue to Extreme Rules. And it's great because this feud's been going on since July, and no one's sick of it. If this was Vince McMahon, Riddle and Rollins would have had 16 matches in between now and last July, and we would have been asking for this feud to end. Triple H has given us one match between these two in 2 months, and now we're sitting here waiting for the next match. If this match was as good as it was, the next match is going to be tremendous. Cannot wait to see what the next match is all about. That is going to be great. And I can absolutely see it taking place in an Extreme Rules match. Maybe a last man standing match. This is going to be a great thing to see. And then when Riddle has the opportunity to let his emotions run wild in a no DQ match, that's when I can absolutely see Riddle taking the win. Really good stuff. Fantastic match right here. And I can absolutely see this feud continuing to Extreme Rules with Riddle inevitably getting a victory at some point over Seth Rollins. And then maybe after that, maybe we see Riddle going to face off against Roman Reigns one more time. Let me throw it back to you, man. Let me throw it back to you. What were your thoughts on this match?
No, yeah, hell yeah. A very, very good match between Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins. I'm glad Riddle is back to Matt Riddle. Seth freaking Rollins now back to Seth Rollins, though still saying Seth freaking Rollins, but wish that would go away, the freaking part of Seth Rollins in his ring name. But anyways, Seth Rollins coming out to Elton Prince, I did here with this outfit. Looked cheesy, but it looked great. Everyone's singing a Seth Rollins theme song. I think he's just so over at this point. Great. At first with this revolutionary theme song by Def Rebel, at first I didn't like it at all. It was terrible. But now it's been really, really growing on me to the point where everyone's singing it now. And Matt Riddle, very good in his own right. This match, I kind of expected Seth to win somehow, and I liked the curb stomp from the second rope, which looked brutal. They played the story well with Matt Riddle's emotions getting the better of him, and Michael Cole mentioned that on commentary. And I don't think this is a one and done between these two guys either. I think we get some kind of stipulation match between these two at Extreme Rules where maybe Matt Riddle gets the win. I'd also like to think how they're going to spice this up a little bit with Seth making it more personal with Matt Riddle. I like to see that. Where Matt Riddle talked about, where Seth talked about Matt Riddle's family saying actually he doesn't have a family because his wife and kids left his bitch ass. And Matt
Riddle call out Seth Rollins on the fact that whenever Rollins doesn't get his way, he bitches and moans like a child. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, their sit-down interview from this past Monday was freaking great. Even coming out of commercial was even better. Where Matt was throwing F-bombs, and some people are like, why? And some people are like, oh, we need TV-14. If we're getting stuff like this, we don't really need TV-14, to be honest.
This is as TV-14 as you could possibly get.
And I think with Seth winning, though maybe Matt Riddle gets his win this time at Extreme Rules, I'm thinking with Seth winning yesterday in Cardiff, what if we get... Now, Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns fought each other at the Royal Rumble. Seth technically owns a victory over Roman by disqualification. What if we get that at Survivor Series if they do the Raw vs. SmackDown format? What if we get Seth versus Roman 2 at the Survivor Series? Seth wins, but he takes the WWE title back to Raw because Seth could play the story of, okay, Seth, Roman, I owe a victory over you. You defend your Universal title, but you don't defend your WWE title against me. How about we do for the WWE title at Survivor Series? I'm taking the WWE title back to Raw because they need a world title over there. I don't know what you think on that, but
we don't need two separate world titles. What we need one world championship, one world champion that's going to appear on both shows. That's what we need. You want to keep two titles, you keep two women's titles. Just get rid of the women's tag team titles. But we need one world title, one belt, one champion that appears on both shows. The brand split is not needed anymore. The brand split 6 years ago was needed because they had an overabundance of talent on both shows. That was when it was necessary. But after they released so many people, ever since the pandemic started, they released how many people? 200, 300 people since 2020? Why do we need a brand split anymore? Their roster is still being replenished by Triple H as we speak. Their roster is still not where it should be. So they need to replenish the roster right now. And as far as we're concerned, the brand split is not needed. It doesn't work. Now, if AEW was to do a brand split, I'd be a little bit more open to it because of just how much talent they have. But as we speak right now, there's no need for a brand split. There's no need for anything of that nature. We need one world champion in WWE, and we need a champion that's going to appear on both shows. Now, I don't see Rollins going up. What's going on over here? Here we go. There you go. A little bit of a glitchy format over here. I don't know what the fuck's going on over there. Hopefully it doesn't start up right now. We're coming towards the end. Come on, you fucking stupid ass computer. There you go. Anyway. If anything, I'm looking at someone new. I can absolutely see AJ Styles being paired with Roman Reigns, and you can get a couple matches out of AJ Styles and Roman Reigns, probably going into Extreme Rules, Crown Jewel, and Survivor Series. And then after that, because here's the thing, Roman Reigns, after beating Drew, and we'll talk about that, there's no way Roman Reigns is losing that championship until he faces Cody at WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes is the guy, and Cody Rhodes is going to take that title from Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. So the best route to go would be to feed Roman some new individuals. And one of those would be AJ Styles. And you can get a solid 3 matches out of those two, from Extreme Rules to Crown Jewel to Survivor Series. And then after that, Lashley could drop the U.S. title. You can give us Roman versus Lashley for the World Championship. Then going into next year, maybe we get one other match with Rollins. Maybe we can get a match with Ricochet. But ultimately, it is going to come down to Roman and Cody. Seth Rollins, we could do that. But if anything, Matt Riddle should be the one to ultimately win this feud against Seth Rollins, which would put Matt Riddle higher up in the rankings, more so than Seth Rollins. So that's what I'm looking at. We'll have to wait and see. But as far as this feud goes, clearly it's far from over, and we're going to have to wait and see what is to come. I fully expect this match to have a stipulation going into the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. The main event. Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. This was a fantastic match. A fantastic main event to cap off a fantastic show. Was it the best match of the night? It could be debated. It could definitely be debated. It could swing either way. And many people could take a look at this as the match of the night just because of how good how good the crowd was and how good the emotion, the emotional feeling throughout this match made this match that much better. Easily, this was their best match together. Excellent stuff from start to finish. It had everything that you needed. Fantastic stuff between these two. Drew McIntyre came out with a promo package with Broken Dreams, which was fucking awesome. I'm going to tell you this right now. Drew McIntyre's theme song needs to be Broken Dreams permanently from here on out. This current theme song is just not good. We need Broken Dreams back full time. We need Jim Johnston back in WWE full time. Seriously. So, crowd was fucking electric. Drew had the early advantage. He saw Karrion Kross sitting at ringside. Drew was, of course, distracted. Reigns with a boot. Drew kicked out at 1. Reigns kept Drew grounded. He took the mic and he said for Cardiff to acknowledge him. Drew then with the Glasgow kiss. He mounted a comeback with a big belly-to-belly throw. Nice neck breaker. He was on the top rope. Drew tossed Roman over the top. Nice spine buster for a 2. Roman with a Uranagi. They called it the rock bottom, but it was not a rock bottom. It was a Uranagi. Future shock by Drew. Drew went for the Claymore. Roman hit Superman punch. Drew kicked out. Spear by Reigns on the button. Drew kicked out again. Roman locked in a guillotine. It was in tight. Drew got out. Reigns was then sent into the post. Drew then speared Roman through the barricade. Back in the ring, Reigns with another spear. Drew kicked out again. Roman was arguing with the referee. Drew claymored Roman, sending Roman into the referee. So the referee went down. All of a sudden, Austin Theory then came out with the ref. He went to the timekeeper's area to talk to the ref. And then out of nowhere, Tyson Fury, who was sitting at ringside, who's a friend of Drew, comes in and just decks the shit out of Austin Theory. Austin Theory it looked like he had his fucking soul knocked out of him. Just fucking blasted him right in the side of the head. Austin Theory was out. If I would have taken that, my skull would have probably been cracked. So props to Theory for taking that from Tyson Fury. Props to Austin Theory for taking that. So Tyson Fury knocked out Theory. The ref was trying to get control of this. Drew McIntyre ducked a chair shot. He hit the Claymore right on the button. I thought this was it. I thought after this Claymore, I thought that Roman Reigns was going to lose the title right here. I would have not been mad about that at all. 1-2 Roman kicked out. Both men then traded strikes. Roman Reigns with a Superman punch. Drew with a Glasgow kiss. Drew with a spear. And then a second Claymore. I thought this was the end of the match. 1-2. All of a sudden, you see the ref just get yanked out of the ring. The ref was yanked off of screen. And then you see this guy in a hoodie. And when they zoomed in on his face, it was shown to be Solo Sikoa from NXT. Drew was distracted by Solo. He got hung up on the ropes. Roman Reigns hit the spear, retains the championship, and that was it. Roman Reigns retains the championship in a fantastic main event and easily Roman Reigns' best match this year. And I'd like to hope that since he retained the championship and Cody Rhodes is going to be next in line, I'd like to hope that Triple H is now going to start rejuvenating Roman Reigns' title reign. Because outside of his matches with Lesnar and this match with Drew, Roman Reigns' title reign this year has sucked. And I mean, it has sucked. Ever since that DQ finish at the Royal Rumble, it's almost like Roman Reigns' title reign's been cursed ever since they booked that shit finish between Rollins and Reigns at the Rumble. His title reign's been cursed. It has been terrible. Now we had that great match with Lesnar and this great match with Drew. I'd like to hope that Triple H is getting Roman back on the right track. I really like to hope so. So as far as this goes, with Solo Sikoa now joining the Bloodline, this opens up a world of possibilities. Drew McIntyre, he didn't need the championship, but I wouldn't have minded if he won. But now that Drew is not the champion, I can see him fighting Cross at Extreme Rules. And Roman, I can see him moving on to someone new. maybe AJ Styles. So let's say, hypothetically speaking, we get AJ Styles versus Roman Reigns for the world title. We got Drew and Cross. We got Gunther and Madcap Moss. We got Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus the Usos for the undisputed tag team titles. We got Bayley and Bianca. We got Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins. That's a solid 6-match lineup for Extreme Rules. Really solid stuff right there overall for Extreme Rules. And I think it could end up being a very solid, and I mean a solid fucking pay-per-view. This entire show got me excited for Extreme Rules, and there is not a single match announced for Extreme Rules. So I'm very happy to see Triple H putting this much effort into his shows to a point where we're excited about the next pay-per-view, and we don't even have a match announced for it. This is a great thing. Really is a great thing to see. Now, I know some people are upset, but at the end of the day, Cody's the greater story. Cody is the greater story. Cody's coming back. Cody needs to win the Rumble, and Cody needs to take the title off of Roman. And then afterwards, I can absolutely see Austin Theory cashing in on Cody, being the prick of the fucking century. Austin Theory becomes the prick of the fucking century, cashes in on Cody, wins the title, and then Cody goes on a journey to get the title back at SummerSlam. That right there, and I say that because if Austin Theory cashes in and fails once again for the, how many years now? The 6th, 7th year in a row, Money in the Bank will go to waste. The Money in the Bank, it's almost like ever since Jon Moxley won Money in the Bank in 2016, Money in the Bank has been fucking cursed. I don't know what it is. The Money in the Bank briefcase, ever since Jon Moxley won it for the men, has been cursed. And we need to rectify that. And in order for this Money in the Bank holder in Austin Theory not to be looked at as a waste, I would absolutely have him cash in on Cody at WrestleMania and be a fucking mega dick. Then Cody can take the title back from him at SummerSlam. That right there would be a great story to tell. It would get Austin Theory over at heel in the right manner, and Cody will be an even bigger babyface in the end when he takes the title back from Theory at SummerSlam. So that's what I see happening. Fantastic match. Fantastic main event. Roman retains. Solo Sikoa is now in the bloodline. And if Roman Reigns doesn't want to compete at one of these undercard pay-per-views, you could still shoe in Solo Sikoa and give us maybe a Solo Sikoa and the Usos versus an Imperium or a Legado del Fantasma, Judgment Day, something like that. We got a lot of intriguing material. And with Solo Sikoa coming about, we could get Styles fighting Roman at Extreme Rules and Crown Jewel. And if War Games is indeed coming back, we got ourselves a War Games match with Roman, Solo, and the Usos taking on some other team. Maybe Styles formulates a team. Maybe we get Styles, Drew, Owens, and Sammy taking on the Bloodline because they've all been feuding with them this year. That would be a great story to tell and a great War Games too. I can absolutely see that happening. Solo Sikoa being back, this is a great thing. Great thing, and I absolutely see Roman Reigns and Cody being the main event at WrestleMania next year with Cody Rhodes inevitably taking the championship from Roman. What say you, Nick? Final match, and then we're getting out of here.
Drew versus Roman definitely delivered. I expected Drew to win this because it was at his home country, though he's from Scotland, and yesterday Clash of the Castle was in Cardiff. But Drew losing, I picked him to win, but Drew lost. I'm not upset with it, and I honestly think, and some people are calling Drew's a loser. No, he'll be fine. He'll be fine coming out of this. And Solo Sikoa, the way he debuted, the way the commentators came off of it was perfect. How Michael said, "Well, that's Solo Sikoa, that upstart, the street champion from NXT." His debut was perfect. And also, another thing people are not thinking about, Roman Reigns signed a part-time deal with Roman. If Roman's not there, Solo Sikoa can fill in for him when Roman's not there on some weeks, since Roman's now has a part-time deal.
Yes.
That's another thing. Solo Sikoa, I did hear the rumors of him getting the call-up. I would have liked to see him in NXT for another year and at least win that North American title from Carmelo Hayes, but apparently we're not getting that.
I think Ricochet is going to take that title from him today.
You think he's gonna want to move down to NXT? I mean,
dude, where else is he going to fit on the main roster? He's not winning the IC title. He's not winning the US title. He's not winning the world title. So if anything, put him back down there in NXT and use him to help rejuvenate that brand. Bring up Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams and put them in Hit Row. Do a swap. That's a perfect swap that will help both men.
Like a trade.
Yes, perfect swap. Ricochet's down there helping rejuvenate NXT as North American champion. And then you got Carmelo Hayes leading Hit Row, bringing them to the next level. It's perfect.
I mean, without Swerve, they're not. I mean, without Swerve, Hit Row's not really anything. I mean, they're trying, but they need a leader.
They're a tag team at best. But if you add Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams, then you got some solid material in which you could have Carmelo Hayes win the US title, the IC title. If anything, when Carmelo Hayes gets called up, Carmelo Hayes should be built up to take the United States Championship off of Bobby Lashley. And Carmelo should be the leader of Hit Row as U.S. champion, put a spotlight on him, and make him a big fucking deal. That's what I'm doing.
I mean, I wouldn't mind that. I mean, you can have him go the U.S. title, ICE title, pretty much any title. Carmelo Hayes is that good.
Well, Gunther's Intercontinental champion. No one's beating him right now. So I would put the U.S. title on Carmelo Hayes.
Yeah, I mean, Carmelo Hayes, I think, is eventually getting the call up. I would have put him on SmackDown because that roster needs help. But, I mean, Ricochet, Carmelo Hayes, they should kill it tonight. I mean, Ricochet down to NXT, I mean, I don't mind it, especially if NXT UK is going to bleed in some black and gold into NXT, which they do need, like Tyler Bate, Blair Davenport, Miko Satomura. Hopefully we get Jinny, Ilya Dragunov down there when he recovers from his injury.
Yes.
Solo Sikoa to SmackDown again. I would have called him up next year, but they're calling him up right now.
If they were going to call him up right now, this is the best role for him.
Yeah, I mean, I would have. I mean, him on his own would have been fine, but I mean, maybe not there yet by himself right now on Raw or SmackDown. But if you pair him with the Bloodline, he'll get better. And then when he breaks away from the Bloodline and he faces Roman, that's where Solo's going to be made. Yes, similar to Evolution, where Batista was in when he eventually broke away in 05, and he was so over for it. Yes, I could see this with Solo Sikoa.
It's similar to MJF and Wardlow.
Yeah, that too. And also put some bodies on SmackDown, which they need with not just Giovanni Vinci, but also Solo Sikoa. And I think this is another statement by Triple H too.
Yes,
to Bruce
absolutely.
Pritchard.
This is a major, major statement, and this is going to be a great thing going forward.
And Cody and Roman also the end game too. And Drew losing, I'm not upset with it. The end game is Cody. Cody and Roman's the big money match. People are saying, "Oh, it should be Rock and Roman." I don't want to see that. Cody and Roman.
It is going to happen. It's going to have to happen without the title.
It doesn't even need the title at all. The storyline of who's the real head of the table is more than enough. It doesn't need any world title at all. I do Cody and Roman. Cody wins the Rumble. Cody wins the championships next year at Mania in Los Angeles. I could see Theory cash in, be the biggest heel of the century. And Cody winning could also open up a lot of eyes in the AEW locker room too. You know they have to be watching too. Yes. That's another thing. Especially if MJF wants to jump ship, Thunder Rosa. I think Cody and Roman's the big money match. I would do that over Rock and Roman. Maybe last year Rock and Roman, but I think it's too late for that.
Yeah, way too late. But this was a fantastic match. Roman retains with the debut of Solo Sikoa. Things are really starting to heat up, and the WWE product is looking really good. I cannot wait for Extreme Rules. That's going to be a great show. It should be awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of The Rewind. I would like to thank each and every single one of you who tuned into this video. Thank you to Next Shift Randy. Thank you to Mac the Giants fan. Thank you to Peanuts. Thank you, Mitch. Thank you, DJ Sums, Adam Carl, the Final Horse, Didi. You guys have been great the entire stream. We have a lot of material to go over today. We have a lot of material to go over for Worlds Collide and All Out. And, of course, tomorrow, Jeffrey Turner is going to be joining me for the Rewind for Worlds Collide at All Out at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Do not forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check out all those links in the description. I will be in attendance for Grand Slam on September 21st, and I will be in attendance for the King of ISPW tournament on September 23rd in Totowa, New Jersey at the Totowa PAL. We had a lot of material to go through in the next coming weeks. It is going to be fucking big. One more time, Nick, where can we find you on social media?
Social media, follow me on Instagram at Nicholas Fiore 2014. You can follow me on Instagram. Don't be afraid to follow me there. Facebook, Nicholas Fiore 31. You can add me as a friend on Facebook if you like. Don't be afraid to do so. And follow me on Twitter at FioreNick579 over on my Twitter. Usually a lot on Twitter, but go follow me on Twitter at FioreNick579. And don't forget to subscribe as well to Furious Nation on YouTube. I am I'm looking at Twitter on my phone on YouTube. 114 subscribers. I would love to hit 130 at least by the end of the year. So subscribe to Furious Nation YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. Hit the with the goal to at least to hit 130. Be greatly appreciated, all of you guys. So subscribe to Furious Nation.
We also got one more subscriber for Hardcore Sports as well. So shout out to everyone that subscribed to Hardcore Sports. You guys have done a fantastic job. We are building Hardcore Sports up as a solid fucking brand. People, if you haven't hit the like button over on Hardcore Sports yet, before the stream ends, go over and do it, because Hardcore Sports, it is going to be the fucking place to be. Until then, I'm DJ Storms. This has been the Rewind for WWE Clash at the Castle 2022 with Nick Fiore. Now, Nick, before we get out of here, there's a very important question that must be answered. Who runs the IWC?
Who runs the IWC? That's a very, very fine question there. It would have to be a guy. He's wearing glasses, but he's also wearing a short sleeve shirt. He's wearing a watch. He's from New Jersey. His first name starts with a D. And he is a Meister. This guy right here, DJ Storms.
I think everyone knows who you're talking about. I'll tell you who runs the IWC. Who but DJ motherfucking Storms. I will catch you guys tweeting live tonight for both Worlds Collide and All Out, and I'll see you tomorrow with Jeffrey Turner to review both of them.